Right now, tonight here at 5, we are learning more about the woman who was killed at a Louisville gas station right across from TARC headquarters on Broadway over the weekend and what might have led up to this deadly incident. Hello, everybody. I'm Doug Proffitt.
And I'm Shay McAllister. We now know the victim was an employee off duty at the time. The shooting happened at the Shell gas station on 10th and Broadway. That is in the Russell neighborhood. Police first got the call about the incident right around 8:45 last night. When they got there, EMS pronounced that woman dead on the scene. Alexis Jones and photojournalist Jessica Farley went back by that gas station today. They talked to the manager.
It's been less than 24 hours since a woman was killed here at Platinum Food Mart, leaving people in the Russell neighborhood still in shock. The manager here says Teresa Thomas was an employee who was loved by so many. He says she lost her life trying to save someone else's. A quick stop at the gas station took a tragic turn Sunday night.
121 Charlie, one gunshot wound to the chest. She's not breathing.
The manager of Platinum Food Mart says Teresa Thomas was an employee but was off the clock at the time. He says the mother of two was there to pick up a few items when a fight broke out just before 9. The manager says a man walked inside the store, became aggressive with another woman in line, and demanded she take off her clothes. That's when Thomas and others tried to break up the fight, but he says when the man hit the customer with the back of his gun, it fired in Thomas's direction.
We've got no full EMS is on scene.
By the time police arrived, Thomas had died, but before leaving, officers were seen praying alongside loved ones and friends. The manager adds the shooter ran away immediately after the shooting. He's still on the run tonight. Louisville, Alexis Jones, WHAS11 on your side.
LMPD's homicide unit is interested in talking to anyone who was near that gas station last night. If you have some information that could help, you can call the anonymous tip line at 574-LMPD. More than 100 people showed up in the middle of the workday today to protest a forest management plan in central Indiana.
The U.S. Forestry Department is trying to enact a plan for the Hoosier National Forest, which includes logging, the thinning of the old forest there, and the burning of certain tree species. It's not far from Louisville. The project is planned for the central part of the Hoosier National Forest around Patoka Lake.
WHAS11 reporter Travis Breeze joins us live from Orange County right now, where the community was meeting about this. Travis, what's the reason for this project?
Shay, the U.S. Forestry Department says that the Hoosier National Forest has not been disturbed for many decades, possibly up to 100 years. And because of that, they have a lot of trees that are old and are about the same age. So the government wants to fix that, while some of the nature organizations, they have different plans and they want it to be human hands-off in this case. We have not been able to get a clear answer on how many acres are going to be burned or logged as a part of this project. Some organizers today told us over 20,000 acres are going to be impacted. The USDA's website has a specific plan for 5,000 acres to go under some kind of management as a part of this plan, and there is also 11,000 acres marked for potential burns on land that is owned by the Forestry Service. One organizer told us that they want logging on the private lands in this forest and to keep the public lands for trail riding, camping, and other recreation.
Indiana has a very important timber industry, and we want to protect that. And in fact, we want to promote and encourage it by encouraging private landowners who are going to cut their land anyway to use the assistance of professional forest managers who can help them get higher dollar return and leave a better quality forest behind.
Keep it in there.
The Undersecretary for the U.S. Department of Agriculture was here, and he said he will take a look at some smaller changes that wouldn't affect the overall goals of the project, such as maybe not replacing 9 or so miles of riding trails with roads for logging trucks. The community organizers told me that this project is currently in the review phase. They're looking at the environmental impact statement at this point. The USDA was not able to get back to us before our newscast today about the current deadline or the status of this project. Indiana Senator Mike Braun was here at this event today, but his office clarified that he does not have a position on this issue. He was just here to listen to his constituents. In Orange County, Indiana, Travis Breeze, WHAS11 on your side.
We were in the basement, but you didn't realize, you had no idea it was doing this much damage out here.
The latest round of severe weather sparked deadly tornadoes this weekend, starting on Friday. If you were with us here on Friday night on WHAS 11, and with conditions set for even more dangerous storms coming up later this week in some parts of the country, hard-hit communities are mourning more than 30 people whose lives were lost. The American Meteorological Society finds that the United States is on track to surpass a tornado death record, already counting at least 63, just below the 3-decade average of 70 per year, and we're only at the beginning of April.
And nationwide, the death toll from this weekend continues to rise. The storm spawned at least 79 tornadoes across 11 states. The American Meteorological Society research projects the warming climate may prompt an increase in tornado-producing storms into late winter and early spring. The study also says overnight and late afternoon tornadoes could become more common, and during those hours, tornadoes are more than twice as deadly. In Arkansas, communities are now assessing the damage across the state and in the capital city of Little Rock.
100% did think I was going to die. Once I saw the winds pick up the way they did.
The American Meteorological Society study also anticipates the U.S. will see the geographic region where tornadoes are typically produced move east toward Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee, toward more densely populated areas, putting potentially more lives at risk. And here at home, that storm knocked out power for quite a few of us. Right now, Duke Energy says they have 395 customers without power in Indiana. In Kentucky, LG&E and KU estimate 855 customers do not have power.
Trees down all over parts of Metro Louisville still as well. Work crews even working today on this gorgeous spring day where we popped up to the 70s after a pretty cool start this morning.
This just turned out to be quite a nice day. Let's check in with Chief Meteorologist Ben Pine on what we can expect the rest of the evening.
Yeah, we have some very warm weather on the way over the next couple of days, guys, and a spring-like extended forecast as well with some mild temperatures on the way. Today, not too bad out there, a high of 76 degrees, and that's where we are now. So really pleasant conditions. Touch breezy, though. You can see that wind gust at around 35 miles per hour. Dry air with the humidity pretty low at 37%. This is a live view here with our Hughes and Coleman cam, part of our U of L Health camera network. Temps have been just a touch cooler where the clouds lingered longer to the south. 64 in Munfordville, Campbellsville checking in at 65 degrees, but mostly low to mid 70s. Scottsburg at 75, and there you can see that clearing sky that we've had through much of this afternoon with those clouds lingering just off to our south. So that south breeze will continue this evening. Temperatures will be in the 60s most of your evening, and then overnight low temperatures in the upper 50s, so a milder start tomorrow. We'll have a chance for a couple of showers, especially along and north of Interstate 64, drier to the south. This here out the door around 7:30 toward the peak of the morning drive, but then later in the afternoon like today and this morning, we will clear it out as we go into the afternoon, and temperatures even warmer in the upper 70s and lower 80s throughout Kentuckiana. So increasing clouds in your forecast tonight. Low temperature at 57, already 70s by lunchtime after that chance of a morning shower, especially the northern half of the area. And then tomorrow afternoon, a very warm high of 82 degrees with the return of some sunshine. We've got one bump in the road that we're going to be watching weather-wise this week, and that's going to be midweek on Wednesday with a chance for some strong to severe storms. We'll map it out and time it out in a lot more detail in just a few minutes.
Thank you very much, Ben. Well, former President Donald Trump has arrived in New York City in advance of his arraignment on criminal charges tomorrow. He got there late this afternoon. A Manhattan grand jury indicted the former president last week on what sources have told ABC News is about 24 counts, including at least one felony.
Trump's lawyer told ABC News he really doesn't know what to expect given the historic nature of this indictment, but that the former president believes he will be ultimately exonerated. ABC's Im Nguyen has the latest from the courthouse in New York.
Today, former President Donald Trump arriving in New York to face criminal charges after a Manhattan grand jury indicted him in relation to the alleged $130,000 in hush money payments to adult film star Stormy Daniels shortly before the 2016 election. Trump's former lawyer and fixer Michael Cohen pled guilty and served prison time in part due to his admission he arranged those payments. Trump's arraignment is set for Tuesday at New York State Supreme Court, where he'll be facing about 24 criminal counts, including felonies, according to sources familiar with the matter.
This is unprecedented. We have Secret Service involved. I understand that closing the courthouse for the afternoon. I just don't know what to expect to see.
We're told Trump will not be handcuffed while he's booked and processed, and that there will be no other court proceedings on the 15th floor where he'll be arraigned. His attorney says he will plead not guilty.
The weaponization of our justice system is not, as some have called it, a political spectacle.
Trump has made numerous verbal attacks against Bragg and more recently Judge Juan Merchan, who's presiding over his criminal case, claiming Merchant hates him. Those comments prompting a warning from the former Manhattan DA who started the hush money investigation years ago, long before Trump announced his 2024 presidential bid.
If I were his lawyer, I would be mindful of not committing some other criminal offense like obstruction of governmental administration, which is interfering with or by threat or otherwise the operation of government.
Security around the courthouse now on high alert, with NYPD bracing for any possible protests. Trump's legal team is opposing cameras in the courtroom tomorrow, saying it'll create a circus-like atmosphere. The DA's office has taken no position, and the judge has yet to rule. Em Nguyen, ABC News, outside the courthouse in Lower Manhattan.
After former President Donald Trump surrenders to law enforcement in Manhattan tomorrow, he plans to quickly return back to Mar-a-Lago in Florida.
There he's planning a rally and is expected to deliver remarks to his supporters right after the arraignment. This was the scene in Florida this afternoon as the former president left his Mar-a-Lago estate in that motorcade for Palm Beach International Airport, and he arrived in New York City at about 4 this afternoon. The former president receiving a cheerful send-off in Florida from dozens of his supporters who lined the streets as his motorcade made its way to the airport. While Donald Trump's exact charges are still unknown, remaining under seal in that indictment, supporters in West Palm Beach say they will still support him.
I don't think they're going to be able to stick any charges to Donald Trump, the Teflon Don.
The indictment remains sealed until he makes his first court appearance tomorrow afternoon as standard in New York before the arraignment. And you are talking about all this today on the Rant Line. That's at 5:45 right here tonight. And of course, ABC's World News tonight. A lot more coverage from New York and Florida at 6:30. The indictment could have huge political and legal consequences for the former president.
But it does not stop him from being able to run for office or be elected president. Anyone can be elected president, even if they've been charged with or convicted of a crime. Article 2 of the Constitution lays out 3 eligibility requirements for becoming president. You have to be a natural-born American citizen, be at least 35 years old, and have been a U.S. resident for at least 14 years. The Supreme Court has further ruled that neither Congress nor state legislators can add new requirements on top of what the Constitution already says. The only way to change the requirements would be a constitutional amendment. Even someone who's found guilty and still sent to prison could, legally speaking, be elected and run the country from a jail.